Good day everyone, I am Rika May D. Marbebe. So for today's video, we will discuss the Articles 84 to 88 of the Republic Act 1794, or also known as the Consumers Act of the Philippines. Brief overview about this act is it aims to protect the interests and the welfare of the consumers, as well as to establish standards of conduct for business and industry. So let's proceed to Article 84. Article 84 discusses the additional labeling requirements for food. So first in the list is the expiry or the expiration date. It is important for food manufacturers to put expiration date in their labels because it helps us consumers to know if the food being consumed is expired or not. As consumers' perspective, it is important for us to check the expiration date because it saves us from buying foods that are already expired. The main purpose here is it prevents us from putting our health at risk as a result of consuming expired products. Second, that needs to be included in the food labeling is the type of product. If it is semi-processed, fully processed, ready to cook, ready to eat, or just a plain mixture. Third is the nutritive value. It is important to be included in the food labeling. It is because nutritive value shows the key nutrients that being contained of the food that may impact our health. It can use for as a support for personal dietary needs. It helps us to ascertain what food that contains nutrients that we want to eat more or nutrients that are being limited for us. The fourth one is the type of ingredients being used in food processing. It is important to put in the labels if the ingredients being used is natural or synthetic. The fifth one and the last is such other labeling requirements as may deem necessary and reasonable for the awareness of the consumers. So let's proceed to Article 85. Article 85 contains the descriptions, conditions, circumstances that makes the food mislabeled. So the following are the mislabeled food. First, if the advertising or labeling is false and misleading. In this case, it is pretty obvious that it is mislabeled food because the information being put in the labels is false. So therefore, the people will tend to believe for the information that is not true, therefore misleading in a way. Second, if it is offered for sale under the name of the other food. C, if it is an imitation of another food, unless if there is a word imitation after the name of food. D, its containers is so made, formed, or filled as to be misleading. E, if in package form, unless it bears a label conforming to the requirements of this act. F, if any word, statement, or other information required by or under authority of this act to appear on the principal display panel of the label or labeling is not prominently placed thereon. If it purports to be or represented as food for which a definition or standard of the quality or identity has been prescribed. H, if it purports to be represented as food for which standard of quality has been prescribed by regulations as provided of this act, and its quality below such standard unless it labels bears a statement that it falls below such standard. 2. If a food for which a standard or standards fill of container has been prescribed but it falls under below the quality or the standard unless it bears a statement that it falls below such standard. If it purports to be represented for special dietary uses unless its label bears such information concerning its vitamins or mineral under dietary properties. And G, if it bears or contains any artificial flavoring, artificial coloring, or chemical preservative unless it bears labeling stating that fact. So in addition to Article 85, it is very important that the government protect its people from mislabeled food, because when mislabeling happens, it potentially harmful to those consuming the food, especially to those who are who have food allergies. And because of the many dangers that come from inadequate or improper food labeling, everyone involved in the food production needs to make an effort to ensure that labels are completely accurate 100% of all the time. So let's proceed to Article 86. Article 86 contains the labeling of drugs. The labeling of drugs is governed by another Republic Act, which is the Republic Act 6675, also known as the Generics Act of 1988. So let's proceed to Article 87. Article 87 contains the additional labeling requirements for cosmetics. So the following are the labels that needs to have for a cosmetic product. A cosmetic product should have A, expiry or expiration date, B, whether or not it may be an irritant. It should be stated the precautions or contraindications and the other labeling requirements as may deem necessary and reasonable for the awareness of the consumers. Article 88. Article 88 contains the special labeling requirements for cosmetics. A cosmetic should be deemed mislabeled if A, it is labeling or advertising is false or misleading in any way. B, if in package form unless it bears a label conforming to the requirements of this act provided or under the existing regulations. C, if any word, statement, and other information required by or under the authority of this act to appear on the label is not permanently placed thereon. D, if its container is so made, formed, or filled as to be misleading. And E, if its label does not state the common or usual name of its ingredients.